Hi, this is going to be a special edition of Measurement Minute. A lot of times the students, you're all asking me, hey, since this is such a science lab, where are all of the test tubes and the colorful things and the bubbles and the reactions and stuff? And usually we're not doing that kind of science, but I think that I'm in a good opportunity right now to do a Measurement Minute to show you some sort of practical, fun science that you might imagine when you think of the science lab, if that's the way that you imagine it. So I have a need to test the water in the aquariums, and I'm going to show you how I do that so, you can see what some practical day-to-day science is all about. So what the test looks like is this. 2 bottles. Each of the bottles has directions on it so that if you forget what to do with which one, you could just follow the directions on the bottle. The test kit also comes with the booklet, which explains about all of the tests, and I learned a lot about all of this by just reading the test booklet. There's a lot of information in there, so be sure that you keep the test booklet because the back side is your key that you use to decipher your test results. So this is an important thing to have, the test booklet. So that test booklet is one thing that you need. The test tubes are another thing that you need, and the actual testing chemicals are the other thing. So part of the directions on this one is to shake it for a little while before you use it. So when I do it with Sawyer, usually I give him one to shake and I shake the other, or I gave one to Matilda and one to Sawyer and they shake them together. So it's fun to do. As a family, a little bit of science in the basement. So I shake these up, set them off to the side, and get some water ready to test. I have a simple way of grabbing some water quickly to test. I just put a rubber extension on a little plastic syringe, pull up some water, and there's a line on the test tube. You have to be careful to fill it to that line, 5 milliliters, because the amount of drops of testing agents that you use is designed for a particular amount of water. So to use the correct amount of drops with the correct amount of water is important. And all those things are just following the directions that are written here in the bottle or in the testing kit. And so I shake it up. I've got my 5 ml of water there, and I usually leave them on the stand so they don't tip over, but I know you want a good view of this, so I'm gonna take a risk and set it on the bench. It's decent. So what we're looking for is a color of water in particular. And this tells us what color of water after the test would be good for the plants or bad for the plants, or good for the fish or bad for the fish. So the amount of nitrate in the water will be indicated by the color of water in the test tube at the end of the test. If there's no nitrate in the water, the water will be yellow, and it will be sort of orangish or darker red or really dark red. There you go. That's a good view of the actual color spectrum there. So it's yellow if it's got no nitrate in it, and it's getting darker and darker the more nitrate there is. So I've found that if your tank is stable, you don't need to worry so much about the earlier steps. You just need to see like where you're at, how much are you producing in the end of the cycle. And that's also a whole nother lesson for this. For the most part, we're just looking for the color, and I will tell you our target range is going to be orange-ish red. You don't need to understand all the complexities of that nitrate cycle that I was just talking about to know that for this test, we are looking for orangish red. as the result. If it's super dark colored, that would tell me that the plants aren't really eating that much, or the fish are putting a lot of waste into the water, or I'm putting in too much food or something. And if it's yellow, that would tell me that the plants are eating all of the nutrients that are being put in the water by the fish, and maybe I need to add additional nutrients like fertilizers or something for the plants, because the fish are not themselves putting enough in to support the healthy growth of the plants. So that's what I'm looking for. Hopefully orangish red is the goal. So what I do is I'll put this here for you so that you can compare the color of the water to the chart, because that's what you do to read the results of the test. All right, so bottle 1 says 10 drops. So go ahead and put 10 drops in carefully. One, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And so it's fun to see how it goes in clear, and then it hits the water and it just begins to have a color. There's a cap for the test tube. I like to shake it over here in my little protected area. Furnace kicking on. All right, so you're supposed to shake it for 30 seconds or a minute or so. You got to really shake it up pretty good. So you can see the color there is basically yellow. That's only the first part of the test. The second part of the test is another 10 drops of solution number 2. And I am rushing this a little bit. Typically I'd wait, shake more. All right, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and once again, it's interesting to note that that is coming out almost entirely clear. I'm going to put a dropout on the table so you can see that that comes out clear. Okay, that's fun to see that it comes out clear. And then interesting things happen. So I'm going to shake again. I'm going to give this a good shake. All right. Now, I'm going to try to put some light on here for you. So we can check out the color. So typically I wouldn't use such a bright light, but it is important you kind of hold it up to the light while you're reading the results. So I'm going to try to reflect the light off of that blank white space there so that it sort of comes through the tube but away from the camera lens. Now at this point you need to really be patient and give the test some time to develop. Alright, so I'm not sure if that's noticeably darker than it was a few minutes ago, but I just swept the floor and came back to see the test. I like doing a little task while the test is developing, or, you know, sometimes just do some of the other shorter tests while you're waiting for the results. Kind of think about this. So this is looking pretty good as far as being orange goes. I was hoping for orange. I think I got orange. And when you're doing it yourself, you kind of do need to hold them up to the light. What I do is I kind of hold this. This is just a separate part of the kit. The white card that comes with it. So I would not discard any parts of the kit. They all seem to be pretty useful. And I kind of hold it up like this. And then I hold it up to the light to compare. So it's kind of hard to film how I do that. But you get the idea, I think. So that one is nitrate. Now, if it were to be red, if it starts to get into that red area, that's not good for the fish. And if there's not enough of it, that's not good for the plants. There's a little balance in the middle. And if that balance isn't just right, there are some things that as a fish keeper I could do to adjust it in one direction or the other. But right now I have a pretty well balanced system, as proven by the general health, that you can see that the plants are green and that the fish are alive. Those are kind of my indicators that it's working. So that's how I measure the nitrate in the aquarium, to see that the fish and plants have exactly what they need to be happy and healthy. And the snails and everything else that's living in there. There's a whole lot of stuff living in there. Okay, hope you enjoyed that extra long version of Measurement Minute.